The alien sky above Terrene 5 shimmered with 2 moons, casting a pale, silvery light on the crystalline landscape. The temporary base the landing party had set up was small but functional, glowing faintly from the energy readings of the planet. Leora paced near the perimeter, her eyes scanning the terrain for any movement. She still couldn't stop thinking about Ethan. He moved calmly around the base, adjusting sensors and inspecting equipment. His hands were careful, but confident, and the subtle hum of energy sensors responded almost as if the planet itself recognized his touch. Leora's lips curled into a teasing smirk. "You know," she began, her voice light, "for someone who trips over everything in the shuttle, you handle alien technology quite well." Ethan looked up, his face calm. "I guess it's just a matter of paying attention," he said simply, returning to the adjustments. "Paying attention?" Leora raised an eyebrow. "You humans make it sound so easy. I was expecting chaos and sparks flying everywhere, not competence." Ethan smiled faintly, unbothered. He didn't mind her teasing. In fact, he found it somewhat amusing. He had dealt with skepticism before. Being underestimated was something humans had grown used to, and often they turned it to their advantage. Leora laughed softly and shook her head. "Well, I hope you're ready for the real challenge. This planet isn't just pretty crystals and glowing plants. It's alive in ways we don't fully understand. Its energy is unpredictable, and one wrong step. Well, you'll see soon enough." Ethan nodded. "I'll keep that in mind." The other members of the landing party exchanged glances. Leora's teasing tone was familiar to them, but they had also begun to notice Ethan's calm demeanor. While the aliens often relied on logic and precise calculations, Ethan's approach was different, flexible, creative, and surprisingly effective. Commander Rylon's voice crackled over the communication channel. "Team, the energy spikes are increasing. Prepare to investigate the source. I want full analysis before the next cycle ends." "Great," Leora muttered. "Looks like the fun begins." She glanced at Ethan. "Try not to melt anything with your human touch this time, okay?" Ethan only smiled faintly, his eyes scanning the readings on the portable sensor. The energy readings were irregular, but seemed to follow a pattern. He pointed to a glowing ridge in the distance. "If we move along that path, the readings suggest a concentrated source of energy. It might help us understand the planet's core activity." Leora tilted her head, impressed despite herself. "And how do you know that?" "Patterns," Ethan said simply. "Energy moves. Even in chaos, it forms currents, shifts, and clusters. If you watch carefully, you can predict where it will concentrate." Leora frowned slightly. She had never thought of energy like that. Aliens studied it mathematically in strict formulas and rigid systems. Ethan's method was intuitive. She didn't quite understand it. She couldn't deny its effectiveness. As they moved toward the ridge, the terrain grew more challenging. The ground sparkled with crystalline dust that shifted under their weight. Strange plants pulsed softly with energy, and the wind carried faint whispers that seemed almost like a language. Leora led the way, her boots crunching over the glittering surface. "Keep up." "Human," she teased, looking back at Ethan. "I don't want to have to rescue you from a glowing vine or something." Ethan kept pace easily. "I think I'll manage," he said, his calm voice steady. The first real test came when the path narrowed between 2 enormous crystalline formations. The ground vibrated slightly, and a pulse of energy surged through the air. Leora's sensors blinked red, warning of instability. "Careful," she said, stepping forward cautiously. "The energy here is volatile." Ethan studied the crystals, noting their patterns and the flow of energy around them. "If we move in a staggered formation and follow the natural currents, we can avoid triggering the spikes," he suggested. Leora's eyes widened. "You actually think like a Zereth engineer," Ethan shrugged. "Maybe human engineers aren't that different." They followed his instructions, moving carefully as the energy pulses shifted around them. Every step Ethan suggested kept the team safe, and Leora couldn't help but feel a mixture of respect and disbelief. This human, whom she had teased endlessly, was guiding them through danger with calm precision. After clearing the volatile zone, the team reached a small clearing, where the energy pulses were concentrated. Floating crystals hovered above the ground, their soft glow casting strange shadows. Leora's amusement returned, but now it was mixed with curiosity. "You know," she said, leaning against a crystal, "for someone you can't even pronounce half the words on this ship, you seem to understand alien energy better than some of us." Ethan crouched near a sensor, adjusting its alignment. "It's about observation and logic. You don't need to speak the language to understand patterns. You just need to watch and think." Leora frowned, studying him. "I still can't believe it. Humans are unpredictable. You're either lucky or smarter than you look." Ethan smiled faintly. "Maybe a little of both." The calm moment was suddenly interrupted by a sharp energy pulse. The floating crystals shivered and shifted violently. Leora's sensors flared red. "That's not good," she said, her voice tight. "We need to stabilize the area, or the energy could overload." Ethan stepped forward, his hands moving quickly over the control panels of the portable equipment. He adjusted settings, rerouted power, and applied subtle corrections to the sensors. The crystals slowly calmed, the pulses returning to a manageable rhythm. Leora watched, stunned. You did that." Ethan nodded. "It's just about finding balance in the system. It reacts to small corrections. The planet responds better to subtle adjustments than force." Leora's usual teasing smile faltered. She had expected the human to struggle, to make mistakes. Instead, he had handled a situation that could have endangered the entire team. For the rest of the cycle, Leora found herself observing Ethan closely. She noticed the way he anticipated shifts in energy, the calm confidence in his movements, and the quiet way he earned the trust of the equipment. He wasn't loud or flashy, but his skills were undeniable, as the twin moons rose higher, casting long shadows across the crystalline landscape. Leora and Ethan paused to rest. The other crew members were busy analyzing data and adjusting equipment, but Leora remained silent, her mind full of thoughts about the human beside her. "You know," she said finally, breaking the silence, "I never thought humans could be useful in a real mission." Ethan looked at her, a faint smile on his lips. "I hope I can prove otherwise." Leora smirked, shaking her head. "You're already proving it. Just don't let it go to your head." Ethan chuckled softly. "I'll try not to." For the first time, Leora saw the potential in humans. They were underestimated, often mocked. Yet they had ingenuity and adaptability that could surprise even the most advanced alien minds. Ethan was living proof. As the team prepared to continue their exploration, new challenge appeared on the horizon, a ridge of glowing crystals pulsating with powerful energy. Leora's eyes narrowed. "Looks like the planet isn't done testing us yet." Ethan nodded, his calm demeanor unchanged. "Then we adapt. That's what humans do." Leora laughed softly, partly in amusement and partly in admiration. She had teased him at the beginning, assuming he was weak or clumsy, but she had been proven wrong. The human before her was clever, resourceful, and brave. And somehow, she found that she wanted to see what else he could do. The team moved forward together, the glowing landscape of Tarian 5 stretching endlessly before them. Danger and mystery awaited, but Ethan's presence brought a quiet reassurance. He had survived alien technology, unpredictable energy, and her endless teasing, and he had done so with calm determination. Leora realized something important. Humans were not to be underestimated. They might be different, sometimes awkward, sometimes strange, but they could adapt, innovate, and succeed where others might fail. And Ethan, with his quiet confidence and sharp mind, was about to prove that fact in ways even Leora could not yet imagine. The ridge of glowing crystals stretched before the landing party like a wall of light. Its surface shimmered with strange colors, blues, purples, and golds twisting together, and faint hums vibrated through the air. The energy readings on the sensors spiked violently as the team approached. Leora took a cautious step forward, her eyes scanning every angle. "Stay sharp," she warned. "This planet isn't just testing us. I think it's trying to see how we react." Ethan followed closely, analyzing the patterns of energy pulsing through the ridge. Unlike the others, he didn't just watch the instruments, he observed the movement of the energy itself. Waves of light shifted subtly across the crystals, and he noticed areas where the pulses were weaker, almost like safe pathways. "Look at the rhythm," Ethan said softly, pointing to the flowing patterns. "If we time our movements with the pulses, we can cross safely. The energy isn't random. It's structured." Leora blinked, impressed. "You mean you can? Read it?" Ethan shrugged. "Not exactly. But I can predict where it will surge next. Humans often do that with natural phenomena back home." Leora smirked, teasing despite the tension. "Of course, humans can predict everything. Just lucky instincts, right?" Ethan only gave a calm smile. Maybe a little intuition, too. The team carefully advanced along Ethan's suggested path. Each step was precise, avoiding the areas where the energy pulses were strongest. The crystals hummed and vibrated beneath their feet, but Ethan's timing kept them safe. Leora, who had been teasing him earlier, felt a strange sense of respect. This human's calm focus was guiding them through a zone even experienced alien cadets might struggle with suddenly. A surge of energy erupted from a cluster of crystals ahead. A wave of glowing particles shot toward the landing party, forcing them to dive to the sides. Leora's sensors flared red. That was close. "Keep moving." Ethan leapt forward, adjusting his balance and keeping his eyes on the next safe zone. He grabbed a small device from his pack and activated it. A shield of faint energy enveloped the team, absorbing some of the surge. The crystal's hum began to settle, but the area was still unstable. "You just blocked it?" Leora said, astonished. "I didn't know humans had anything like that." Ethan shook his head. "Not really. I just improvised with the materials we had. Sometimes the simplest solution works best." Leora could hardly believe it. She had assumed that humans were weaker, less adaptable. Yet here was Ethan, thinking quickly under pressure, saving them from harm with nothing but creativity and courage. They continued along the ridge, facing more challenges. Floating energy shards shifted unpredictably, and patches of glowing moss released bursts of electrical energy when disturbed. The landing party had to move carefully, ducking and leaping as Ethan guided them through the safest paths. At one point, Leora almost slipped on a crystal slope. Ethan reached out instinctively, catching her arm. "Careful," he said. "The surface is unstable here." Her cheeks flushed, partly from effort and partly from the unexpected gesture. She gave a small, teasing smile. "Thanks, human. I suppose you're not completely useless after all?" Ethan chuckled softly. "I'll take that as a compliment." Hours passed, and the ridge grew taller and steeper. The energy readings increased as they approached the summit. Ethan's intuition became more crucial than ever. He analyzed the flows of energy, noting subtle changes in the vibrations of the crystals. Each pulse, each shimmer, told him which areas were safe and which could trigger dangerous surges. Finally, they reached a plateau where the energy pulses converged into a massive crystal formation. The core of the structure glowed brighter than anything they had seen so far, and the vibrations were strong enough to shake the ground beneath them. "This must be the source," Leora said, replacing her usual teasing. "I've never seen anything like it." Ethan nodded, studying the core carefully. "The energy is concentrated here. It's powerful, but it's not stable. If we can understand its pattern, we might be able to control it or at least prevent it from causing damage." As they moved closer, the crystals reacted to their presence. Pulses of energy shot out in random directions, forcing them to duck or dodge. Ethan's calm observation allowed him to guide the team safely. He touched one of the peripheral crystals, and it dimmed slightly, stabilizing the nearby pulses. Leora's eyes widened. You're controlling it?" Ethan shook his head. "Not really. I'm just redirecting the flow, giving the energy a path to move safely. The planet responds to balance, not force." The other crew members watched in amazement. Ethan's human approach, intuitive, adaptive, and careful, was keeping them safe where advanced alien systems might have failed. Suddenly, the largest pulse surged from the core. It threatened to knock the team off their feet. Leora froze for a moment, unsure what to do. Ethan acted instinctively. He grabbed a portable energy stabilizer from his pack and positioned it near the core. Lights on the device blinked rapidly as it absorbed part of the surge. Calming the core's violent vibrations, the pulse subsided. The crystals hummed gently, and the area became safe. Leora stared at him, her mouth slightly open. "I didn't think you could do that." Ethan smiled faintly. "Sometimes all it takes is observation and quick thinking. That's how humans survive unexpected challenges." Leora shook her head in disbelief. "Humans are unpredictable. You're either incredibly lucky or incredibly smart. Maybe both." Ethan only gave a small shrug, his calm demeanor unshaken as they continued exploring the plateau. The team noticed strange markings etched into the largest crystals. The symbols pulsed faintly with energy. None of the alien cadets could decipher them, but Ethan studied them carefully, his eyes narrowing in concentration. "These symbols. They're like a code," he said softly. "Not language exactly, but instructions. If we follow them, we can understand how the energy flows, and maybe even control it." Leora leaned closer. "You can read it?" Ethan nodded. "I can interpret patterns. Humans do it all. The time maps, machines, signals. This is just another kind of pattern." The other cadets watched in awe as Ethan began tracing the lines with his fingers, connecting symbols and adjusting the nearby energy stabilizers. Slowly, the core's pulses synchronized with their movements. The vibrations became steady and predictable. Leora couldn't hide her admiration. She had teased him for clumsiness and awkwardness, but here he was, guiding them through alien technology and saving the mission from potential disaster. Hours passed as they studied the core, Ethan's human intuition providing insights that the advanced alien instruments could not. Leora found herself learning from him, realizing that humans had unique ways of thinking that were valuable even among the stars. Finally, the team gathered around the now stable energy core. The readings were smooth, the pulses harmonious, and the threat of dangerous surges minimized. Leora looked at Ethan, her previous teasing replaced with respect. "You know," she said quietly, "I never thought humans could handle something like this." Ethan glanced at her, calm as ever. "We can adapt. That's what humans do." Leora shook her head, smiling faintly. "I guess I learned something today. Humans aren't as weak as I thought." Ethan smiled. "I hope that lesson helps in the future." As the twin moons rose high, casting silvery light over the plateau, the team prepared to return to the temporary base. Leora walked beside Ethan, her mind racing. She had made fun of him earlier, assumed he was clumsy and weak, but she had been completely wrong. Humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of surprising even the most experienced aliens. And Ethan, with his calm determination and intuitive thinking, had proven it. The planet of Tarian 5 still held many mysteries, and more challenges were sure to come. But for now, the team had survived, and humans had earned a place of respect among the stars. Leora glanced at Ethan one last time before they descended the ridge. "You're full of surprises, human," she said, a hint of admiration in her voice. Ethan only smiled faintly. "I'm just getting started." The stars above Tarian 5 twinkled silently as the landing party made their way back. Danger, mystery, and adventure awaited them. Ethan was ready for whatever came next. The team returned to the temporary base as Tarian 5's twin moons cast long, silver shadows over the glowing crystalline terrain. Ethan carried a small data module with the readings he had collected from the energy core, while Leora followed behind, her thoughts spinning all day. She had underestimated him. All day she had teased him, laughed at his awkward movements, and assumed he would be a weak link. And all day, Ethan had proven her wrong. He had navigated volatile energy pulses, stabilized the planet's core, had interpreted alien symbols with precision that even the most advanced AI aboard the Aurora could not match. Leora clenched her jaw. She had expected to be the smartest in the group, but Ethan's calm confidence and unique human thinking challenged that assumption. She had never met anyone like him, as the team gathered around the base's analysis station. Ethan plugged the data module into the system. Lights blinked, screens flashed, and graphs of energy flow filled the displays. The core's energy patterns formed complex loops, spikes, and waves. But through it all, Ethan's analysis translated them into understandable sequences, showing how the energy moved and how it could be controlled. Interesting, uttered Lieutenant Varric, a tall alien engineer. I've never seen anyone predict energy flows like this without full access to the planet's systems. Ethan shrugged, his calm demeanor unshaken. It's about observation and pattern recognition. Anyone could do it, given enough patience. Leora couldn't hide her amazement. Anyone? Really? She asked, her voice quieter than usual. Ethan looked at her, his eyes steady. I've had practice. Humans adapt to survive. We notice patterns, solve problems, and improvise solutions in situations that seem impossible. It's instinct, I guess. Leora's mind raced. She had teased him relentlessly, assuming he was fragile and inexperienced. Now, she realized she had been completely wrong. Humans weren't weak. They were clever, adaptive, capable of extraordinary solutions. When faced with challenges, the atmosphere in the base shifted as the analysis continued. The readings showed not only how the energy core functioned, but also hinted at its purpose. The symbols Ethan had interpreted suggested that the energy was part of a planetary network, designed to support life and ecosystems. If mismanaged, it could destabilize entire regions. But if understood and guided carefully, it could benefit colonies across nearby systems. Commander Rylon approached, his eyes scanning the data. Impressive work, Ethan, he said. Your analysis was correct, and your adjustments stabilized the core. I underestimated the importance of human intuition. Ethan nodded politely. Thank you, Commander. I just tried to observe and react. Leora remained quiet, her mind wrestling with a sudden curiosity. She had always assumed humans were primitive compared to Zerethians and other alien species. But Ethan's actions proved otherwise. His ability to improvise, to think outside strict logic, and to handle danger calmly set him apart. Ethan, she said finally, her voice softer than usual. Where are you from, really? Ethan looked up, surprised by the question. From Earth, he said simply. Leora froze. Earth. She repeated, her tone incredulous. You mean the human homeworld? Ethan nodded. Yes, that's where I grew up. Leora's mind reeled. Earth was considered a minor planet in the Galactic Council. Its people were thought to be simple, unremarkable, and slow to develop advanced technology. And yet here was Ethan, a human, who had just saved the team from a potentially disastrous energy surge and interpreted alien technology with skill that rivaled trained aliens. For a moment, Leora felt a strange mix of awe and embarrassment. She had mocked him for his clumsiness, for the way humans seemed awkward among aliens. And now she realized she had been completely wrong. This human was extraordinary, Earth. She whispered, almost to herself. I can't believe it. Ethan smiled faintly. I know humans aren't perfect, but we're good at adapting, learning, and surviving. Sometimes that makes a difference. Leora blinked, processing the words. I made fun of you. I thought you were weak. I thought humans couldn't keep up. And all this time? She shook her head, unable to finish. Ethan simply nodded. It's okay. I expected it. Most species underestimate humans. We've learned to deal with that. Leora studied him closely. His calm demeanor, his quiet confidence, and the ease with which he handled danger were all traits she had never seen in any other species. She felt a flicker of respect, and maybe something more. Though she didn't want to admit it, Commander Rylon cleared his throat. Leora, I suggest you study Ethan's methods carefully. His approach might be invaluable for future missions. Humans' adaptability could give us an advantage we haven't considered. Leora nodded, her mind still reeling from the revelation. She had underestimated him not because he lacked skill, but because he was human. And humans, she realized, had qualities no alien could fully anticipate. That night, As the landing party rested under the twin moons, Leora sat beside the glowing crystals, lost in thought. She watched Ethan checking the energy stabilizers, making minor adjustments that further refined the core's pulses. His movements were calm, efficient, and precise. "Ethan," she said quietly, I want to apologize. I was wrong about you. About humans. I judged too quickly." Ethan glanced at her, a faint smile on his lips. "Thank you. But you don't need to apologize. I understand. Most species assume humans are weaker. It happens a lot." Leora shook her head. "No. This time it's different. I teased you, mocked you, and you proved me wrong every step of the way. You saved us today, and I didn't even realize it until now." Ethan's eyes met hers. "It's not about proving anyone wrong. It's about observing, learning, and acting when it counts. That's all," Leora sighed, a mix of frustration at herself and admiration for him. "You make it sound so simple, but it's not. You've done something extraordinary here. Humans, I underestimated you, and I won't make that mistake again." For the first time, Leora felt genuine respect for a human. She realized that in the galaxy, human strength wasn't in brute force or advanced weapons. It was in their creativity, adaptability, and ability to stay calm under pressure. Ethan embodied all of that. As the night wore on, the energy core stabilized completely. Glowing softly in harmony with the surrounding crystals, the planet seemed calmer, almost as if it recognized the landing party's careful handling. Ethan checked the final readings and nodded in satisfaction. Commander Rylon's voice came through the communicator. "Good work, team. The energy core is stable. Prepare to return to the Aurora for further analysis. We'll need to report our findings to the Council." Leora glanced at Ethan, her thoughts still swirling. She had teased him, doubted him, and even laughed at him. And now she saw the truth. Humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of things no alien mind could predict. "Come on," she said quietly, standing and stretching. "I suppose we should head back? And maybe I should stop calling you clumsy from now on." Ethan chuckled softly. "I appreciate that." As they prepared to board the shuttle, Leora walked beside him, her mind racing. She had learned an important lesson today. Never underestimate a human. They might seem ordinary at first, but their intelligence, adaptability, and courage could turn the tide in any situation. And Ethan, the human who had just revealed the truth of Earth's potential, had earned not just her respect, but a place of honor among the stars. The twin moons shone above them, casting silver light over the glowing landscape. For Leora, the galaxy suddenly seemed bigger, more exciting, and filled with possibilities she had never imagined. And for Ethan, it was just another step in a journey where humans, underestimated and overlooked, could prove their worth and, perhaps, change the galaxy in ways no one had expected. The stars twinkled silently above, holding the promise of more challenges, more discoveries, and more revelations yet to come. The shuttle rose gently from Tarion 5, leaving the glowing crystalline landscape behind. The energy core, now stable, pulsed calmly beneath the planet's twin moons, a testament to the team's careful work. Ethan sat quietly, reviewing the data from the mission, while Leora, usually full of teasing remarks, sat beside him in thoughtful silence. The ride back to the Aurora was smooth, the artificial gravity keeping everyone comfortable. Leora stole glances at Ethan, her mind still processing the events of the past cycle. She had underestimated him, judged him by appearances, and even made fun of him. But every time she had doubted him, he had proven her wrong. "Ethan." She began cautiously, breaking the silence. "I wanted to thank you for everything today." Ethan looked up, his calm expression welcoming. "You don't need to thank me. I did what anyone would do if they were in my place." Leora shook her head. "No, not anyone, you. Humans in general are underestimated in the galaxy. I thought I knew your kind, but you've shown me something else. Something extraordinary." Ethan gave a small smile. "I'm glad I could show that. Humans may seem ordinary at first, But we adapt. We find ways to solve problems. And we survive. Leora's amber eyes met his. And you. You've survived and excelled when none of us expected it. I suppose I should stop making fun of you now, Ethan chuckled softly. I'll take that as progress. The shuttle docked smoothly with the Aurora, and the landing party stepped onto the ship. Crew members who had been waiting to hear updates crowded around, eager to learn about the energy core. Lieutenant Varric and several other cadets looked at Ethan with newfound respect. Commander Rylon met them at the airlock. His dark blue armor gleamed under the ship's lights. Excellent work, team, he said. Special commendation goes to Ethan. Your analysis and quick thinking saved the mission and stabilized Tarian 5's energy core. You've proven humans' potential to this crew and to the Galactic Council. Ethan inclined his head politely. Thank you, Commander. I just tried to observe and act when it mattered. Leora stepped forward, feeling a mix of pride and relief. Commander, if I may, she began, her voice firm but respectful. Ethan's human intuition and adaptability were essential to today's success. He guided us through challenges that even our instruments could barely predict. I admit I was wrong about him, and about humans in general. Rylon nodded approvingly. Your honesty is appreciated, Leora. It takes humility to recognize when you've misjudged someone, and it seems this human has more to teach us than we realized. The rest of the crew listened intently, and a quiet murmur of agreement spread. Ethan's presence, once underestimated, now inspired respect. Even the cadets, who had laughed at him earlier, now looked at him as a symbol of human potential. Later, in the mess hall, the crew gathered for a brief moment of celebration. Leora sat across from Ethan, still feeling a bit awkward. I suppose congratulations are in order, she said. You changed a lot of minds today. Ethan smiled faintly. I didn't set out to change minds. I just did my best. But I'm glad it helped. Leora leaned back, thinking carefully. You know, humans are strange. You seem ordinary, yet you do things we aliens find remarkable. You survive, adapt, and even inspire. I underestimated that. I won't again. Ethan's eyes met hers, calm and steady. It's okay. Underestimation happens often. Humans are used to it, and sometimes it works to our advantage. Leora laughed softly, the sound genuine and free of her earlier teasing tone. I suppose it did for you today. Outside the mess hall, the viewports of the Aurora displayed a breathtaking panorama of stars and planets. The galaxy stretched endlessly, full of mystery and danger. And yet, for the first time, Leora felt a renewed sense of confidence in their team. Humans, she realized, were capable of things she hadn't imagined. As the crew prepared to return to Earth's space territory for further analysis, Ethan and Leora walked together along the observation deck. The hum of the ship and the gentle glow of starlight created a calm atmosphere. You've taught me a lot, Leora admitted quietly. About humans, about courage, and about perspective. I thought we were all the same in terms of intelligence, but you've shown me something different. Something unique. Ate Landstatter. Humans have a way of thinking that's flexible. We can adjust, improvise, and survive, even in situations no one expects. That's our strength. Leora nodded slowly. I see that now. I want to learn from that. From you? Ethan gave a faint smile. And I'll gladly teach. We all learn from each other, no matter where we come from. The next few days on the Aurora were filled with debriefings and analysis. Ethan worked with the science team, sharing his insights about energy flow and pattern recognition. Leora stayed close, observing and learning. She asked questions she would never have thought to ask before. Studying Ethan's methods carefully, during one analysis session, Leora finally admitted aloud, I made fun of you because I thought humans were weak. But now I see. We were the ones underestimating the wrong person. Ethan nodded calmly. It's all right. Most species assume that humans can't keep up. It's part of being underestimated. But that assumption can be turned into an advantage if you use it wisely. Leora smiled, feeling a sense of relief and admiration. She had been proven wrong in the best way possible. Humans, it seemed, were more than capable of surviving and thriving even in the most dangerous and alien environments. The Aurora approached the boundary of Terrain 5's planetary system, and Commander Rylon ordered a final check of the energy readings. Ethan's analysis helped confirm that the planet's core was stable and that no dangerous fluctuations remained. The mission was a success, and the team had learned a valuable lesson about teamwork, respect, and the underestimated potential of humans. As the starship sailed back toward familiar space, Leora finally addressed Ethan directly. "I owe you more than apologies," she said softly. "You've taught me that humans can do amazing things, that we should never judge anyone by appearances, that courage and intelligence come in forms we don't always expect." Ethan smiled faintly, a quiet warmth in his eyes. "I'm glad. That's one of the reasons I do what I do, to show that humans are capable, even when no one believes it." Leora nodded, "And now I believe it completely." That night, the crew gathered on the observation deck looking out at the stars. The vastness of the galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of unknown dangers, hidden worlds, and opportunities for discovery. Leora stood beside Ethan, watching the starlight shimmer across the ship's hull. "You know," she said softly, "I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad we have humans on the crew, especially you." Ethan's faint smile widened slightly. "I'll do my best to keep proving it." The hum of the starship filled the room as the crew shared a quiet moment of camaraderie. Leora no longer saw Ethan as clumsy or weak. She saw him as a vital member of the team, a human who had proven that courage, intelligence, and adaptability were traits that could compete with the best alien minds. And as the Aurora sailed through the endless sea of stars, Leora knew this was only the beginning. Humans had a place in the galaxy. Ethan had just shown the crew how powerful that could be. She glanced at him one last time, admiration shining in her eyes. "The galaxy won't know what hit it," she whispered, smiling. Ethan laughed softly. "Then let's make sure it's ready for whatever comes next." Together, they looked out at the stars, the glow of distant worlds reflecting the promise of adventure, discovery, and the unshakable strength of humanity. The mission was complete. Respect had been earned, and a new chapter for humans in the galaxy had begun. And in that moment, Leora understood a truth she would never forget. Never underestimate a human, for they were capable of the unexpected and sometimes the extraordinary. The stars twinkled silently above as the Aurora sailed onward, carrying its crew into new adventures, with humans no longer underestimated and with Ethan, a quiet but formidable hero at the heart of it all. Ethan stepped off the sleek shuttle onto the platform of Zithra's main spaceport. The air smelled faintly metallic, tinged with a sharp sweetness he could not identify. He adjusted the strap of his bag, taking a deep breath, and allowed his eyes to wander over the city. Towers of crystal rose into the sky, shimmering with hues that shifted from violet to gold as the twin suns moved overhead. Bridges made of a glowing, transparent material connected buildings high above the ground, and small flying vehicles zipped between them with smooth precision. Despite the beauty, the city felt overwhelming. Sounds of conversation, some sharp, some melodic, echoed from all directions. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved across the plaza, some with 4 arms, some with skin that seemed almost liquid, others with luminous eyes that scanned everything with quiet intensity. Ethan had read about Zithera, but seeing it in person was far more astonishing. A small commotion near the edge of the platform drew his attention. A group of aliens was laughing loudly. One of them, a girl with pale silver skin and bright green eyes, seemed to be the center of the laughter. She noticed Ethan staring and turned toward him, a curious smile forming on her lips. "Hello, human," she said, her voice melodic, yet carrying a teasing edge. "You look lost." Ethan smiled awkwardly. "I'm Ethan. I've just arrived." The girl's eyes sparkled with amusement. "I am Lyra. You are from Earth, yes?" Ethan nodded. "Yes. I'm here as part of a diplomatic mission." Lyra tilted her head. "A human in Zithera? How quaint." She stepped closer, examining him with an expression that mixed curiosity and mischief. "I like a challenge." Perhaps you can prove your species is clever. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Prove humans are clever? Lyra's grin widened. Yes, but first you must survive Zithera. She gestured to a nearby walkway that extended into a crowd of aliens. Follow me. Let's see if you can keep up. Ethan hesitated only briefly before deciding to follow. Something about her energy was compelling. She moved quickly, but not recklessly, weaving through the crowd with grace. Ethan jogged to keep pace, noting the subtle ways she interacted with others. She used humor and quick wit to navigate the crowd, and her green eyes seemed to catch every small detail of the bustling city as they moved. Lyra pointed to a nearby market stall, where alien fruits glowed faintly. Try one of these, but be careful, some are sweet, some are surprising. She laughed lightly at the last word. Ethan picked up a glowing orange fruit. He studied it, unsure how to tell if it was safe to eat. Lyra raised an eyebrow. Earth, humans? You hesitate over something so small. He chuckled nervously and took a small bite. Immediately, his mouth tingled, and a mild warmth spread through his body. He coughed slightly, and Lyra laughed outright. See, your reactions are entertaining. But humans can adapt, can they not? Ethan nodded, trying to hide a grin. I suppose we can. They continued walking, and Lyra pointed out various features of Zithera, the floating gardens, the energy conduits that pulsed like veins through the city, and a distant tower that emitted a low hum. All of it was unfamiliar, yet Ethan tried to take it in with keen eyes. He wanted to understand, to learn, to observe. Why do humans always stare so much? Lyra asked suddenly, breaking his focus. Is it curiosity or fear? Maybe a bit of both, Ethan admitted. New places are exciting, and sometimes a little intimidating. Lyra considered this, tapping her chin with one clawed finger. I like that answer. Earth humans think differently than Zitherans. Perhaps differently enough to be useful. She tilted her head in a way that made him feel both examined and amused. Soon, they reached an open plaza where a group of Zitheran children was attempting a puzzle game involving floating orbs of energy. Lyra gestured to the children. Watch. This is where you will be tested. Ethan looked at the puzzle. The orbs hovered in midair, shifting colors and patterns rapidly. The children reached out, touching the orbs in sequence, trying to match the patterns. Lyra glanced at Ethan. Do you think you can figure it out? He studied the orbs, noticing small patterns in their movement. With a quiet focus, he reached out and gently touched one orb. It changed color immediately. Following the sequence he had observed, he moved his hands carefully, activating the orbs in the correct order. The sequence completed with a soft hum, and the orbs formed a glowing, intricate design in the air. The children clapped, cheering for him, while Lyra's eyes widened. Interesting, she said. Not bad for a human, Ethan shrugged modestly. I just observed patterns. That's all, Lyra smiled, though a trace of disbelief lingered. Patterns, yes. But the speed, the subtle understanding. Humans are unpredictable. She led him through the plaza further, pointing out smaller tests of observation and quick thinking, a set of alien riddles written in holographic symbols, a mechanical contraption that required coordination and timing, and a maze with shifting walls. Each time, Ethan approached calmly, using logic, creativity, a bit of improvisation to succeed. With each success, Lyra's teasing tones softened, replaced with genuine curiosity. She had begun the day intending to make fun of the human, to see him stumble in a world she considered superior. But now, she found herself watching him with a mixture of respect and wonder. By mid-afternoon, they reached a small observation deck overlooking the city. The suns were lower in the sky, casting a warm glow over the towers and floating walkways. Ethan leaned against the railing, catching his breath. Lyra approached quietly, sitting beside him. I admit, I expected you to fail, but you've surprised me. Earth humans, you are clever indeed. Ethan looked at her, sensing the sincerity in her voice. Thank you. I'm just trying to understand, I guess. Humans are used to adapting to new things. Lyra's green eyes twinkled. Adapting, yes. That may be why your species is interesting. She paused, then added, almost teasingly, but the real test is yet to come. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Another test? She nodded, standing up and extending a hand. Yes, something more entertaining. Something that will make the rest of Zithera see if humans are more than just clever with puzzles. He took her hand, feeling a thrill of anticipation mixed with anxiety. Whatever she had planned, he knew it would challenge him in ways beyond what he had faced so far as they moved forward into the deeper city. Ethan realized one thing clearly. This world, with all its strange creatures, glowing architecture, and unpredictable customs, would not be easy to navigate. Yet somehow he felt ready. Human ingenuity had brought him here. Human courage would see him through whatever came next. Lyra glanced at him, a playful smirk returning to her face. Remember, human, I am not easily impressed, but perhaps today you might manage it. Ethan smiled faintly. I'll do my best. The suns dipped lower, casting long shadows across the crystalline city. And as the two figures walked into the heart of Zithera, the first sparks of friendship and rivalry ignited. The day's adventure had only just begun, and both knew that what seemed like a simple test of cleverness might soon become a much greater challenge. The streets of Zithora stretched endlessly ahead, filled with surprises, puzzles, and the unspoken promise that humans, especially one human, were about to prove something remarkable.